Okay, so this is a comment on a YouTube channel called the Next News Network that I am. What I think no, it's not. Maybe the Next News Network. Uh, I'll tell you in a minute once I get done with the comment. Um, this is a comment that I am making to Megan Kelly. Basically, she said something on here about like not letting like talking about building conservative platforms and so on, and letting anybody on there except people like Alex Jones, and it ticked me off because Alex Jones has been telling people the truth, even though he's kind of a shock jock kind of guy. 20 years he's been telling people the truth, and whether you like him or you don't like him, it doesn't really matter. It's the same thing with Trump. You like him or you don't like him for personality reasons, but what he tells you is reality. And, it's the same thing, like, basically the idea is that people are, like, rebelling against conservative values and ideals is like rebelling against your parents when they tell you, oh, don't drink and drive. Don't take those drugs. Don't listen to that type of music because it's going to brainwash you into thinking that relationships and sex are, a dime a dozen and you can throw things away. I mean, people who are telling you truthful information based in like a conservative mind frame aren't doing it to harm you. They're doing it to protect you. They're doing it to protect the country. And this liberalism, this rampant radical liberalism is going to be the downfall of this country. And then the big techie money hungry faction and the corrupt government are going to sweep in and try to normalize everything under their control with a bunch of regulations and a bunch of ways to keep you from speaking your mind when you do have a ideal that is different. It's going to be 1984. And as Alex Jones says, the only way to take down 1984 is 1776. Okay? You have to be revolutionary in your speech online. You have to get out there and talk and tell and explain and show your data and information. And if big tech and the news is trying to squash real data and information, then we need to squash big tech and mainstream media and not let them. Because we know that they're not telling the truth, and we know that they're trying a coup on this country and this world in general. So anyway, this is my comment. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if you all know this, but I am technically legally blind, and so I use a voice-to-text Google, and I use TTS a lot of times. That's why you see a lot of my videos have TTS in them. And so, to make things easier, I generally do text-to-speech. And so, some of the words in here have been misinterpreted. I can't go back and fix them, because to go in there and try to fix them and then retype them and stuff would take me an hour. I mean, it really literally would take me an hour. But you can get the gist of this, and I hope the people that read this comment get the gist of it too. I think they will know what I'm talking about. And I have invited people to come to my YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button below if you are watching this video. I am super shadow banned after the shooting in Florida years ago, and I put a video up. I got called out for bullying that David dude, and I'm not even going to mention his name, when I said that he was being fed information. That was bullying, according to them, which is total trash. But I was allowed to go live and stuff back then, and I got cut off from going live, and then my channel's been shadow banned ever since. So I have, like, no subscriptions, basically, compared to what I should have by now. I've got videos with, like, thousands of views, but, and likes, but no subscriptions. Anyway, here's the comment.
Okay, before I'm even a few minutes into this, I have to make some comments. Number one, Megan, we need Alex Jones on anything that he chooses to be young. He has been telling us, the American people, about exactly what is going on right now for over 20 years, and everybody in the mainstream has been calling it conspiracy theory. And that is exactly what has caused this problem, is the censorship, the inability of people to allow different thoughts, ideas, and ways of speaking about them to be publicly available. This country was built on the ability for anyone, and that means anyone, to speak their mind or bring information out into the public eye. This whole game being played by the mainstream media and big tech and entrenched politicians, where they are controlling the narrative, disseminating false information, and discounting truth, must be stopped at all costs. One of the biggest problems and the conservative sign that I see going on is that we are spreading ourselves too thin, trying things like Gab, Polar Me, We Accept Euro, and not choosing one or two platforms to invest in. Aside from the major platforms, Twitter, Facebook, there are probably 30 different supposedly free speech platforms out there. Someone needs to step up to the plate and invest in one or two of these and bring them up to a par where their servers will handle the traffic. And as a legally blind disabled person, will have things like dark mode, for instance, and TTS availability for those of us who need it. In other words, the tech side needs to get up to par as well within the app and the browser versions of these platforms. These platforms need to integrate a marketplace type situation like Facebook has, an advertising that can be purchased. These platforms need to promote local swap sites, share sites in groups just like Facebook does. They do not need to do the "you must use your real given name" garbage out Facebook. And they do not need to ban people for speaking their mind. For example, during the Trump presidency, I have lost 3 Facebook accounts and 5 TikTok accounts, and this YouTube channel that I am currently running has been severely shadow banned when it was just starting to take off. Our biggest problem is that those people who are entrenched politicians, big corporations, billionaires of tech, are all trying to use their influence to create their utopian ideals, which do not include conservative ideals, wholesome living, moderation, self-responsibility, freedom of speech, constitutional law, religion, family values, true health and well-being, truth about anything that does not fit their manufactured dialogue of history and present social issues. This is literally a culture war funded by those who want you basically turn society and you consumers of everything they provide. They are using tactics to shame the American people out of being conservative consumers who care about what they spend their money on and the quality of said items and services. In anything that is going on right now, all you have to do is follow the dollar. This is a totally purposeful tactic that they have created to gain control of the millions of people in this United States of America. It is a tactic that has been used for over 2,000 years to destroy society so that you can rebuild them in the manner in which you desire them to be. It is a Marxist agenda, but Marx was not the progenitor of it originally. There is an extremely good video on my channel not too far down, maybe 3 or 5 videos back. AKGB defector mean Yuri, who breaks it all down. Yes, it's an hour-long video, and yes, it is worth the hour. We should all go watch it and subscribe to my channel, cause I put more stuff like that up in the future. But this is a planned agenda. First you demoralize the youth, and when they become adults you give them something of a common enemy like cultural issues, and then you get them to invite, and then you get them to become radical, and then you step in and with their own agenda you lead them into your new normalized society. They've done this for centuries. And Donald Trump was ASU in their plans. They're going to do whatever they can to destroy him, his family, and anyone who supports him. That is why they lie on the mean streets of media, and that is why they center on social media. They don't want a mass amount of the population to know the truth, but we have to fight for the truth and never back down. I fear that this fight for the truth may turn into something more horrendous. A dystopia-style world. Something akin to Hunger Games if we choose to continue to let them disseminate their narrative without being put in check and possibly even in jail. I have been fighting this battle since 2006. I have seen it escalate to a level that at the time in 2006 I would have never believed would be anywhere but in a science fiction novel. A novel, by the way, which I have been writing. A novel which everything I write seems to come true, which makes it more like based on reality, and that is scary because the end-all be-all of my novel is not a pretty place for this country to end up. All in all, any platform for news made aside from MSM needs to be completely open to any individual to speak their mind and bring their information forward. To judge one's thoughts and ideals before you research them is exactly the issue we have today. The world is full of low-information voters and low-information news-spreading persons. Once in a great while you will see one of them wake up to the truth. But they are usually completely shadow banned, shunned, and deplatformed when they do. Is not the world my ancestors? You came here on the Mayflower and fought in the Revolutionary War intended. And I will not dishonor them by keeping quiet.
And I just won't. And I keep getting told by people, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't say so much. I mean, things are getting unstable. Maybe they'll come after you. Maybe they'll take away your disability. Maybe they'll, create havoc in your life. Maybe they'll, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I cannot stop this fight. This is way too important for me to worry about things like that. I do not have any intention on stopping. I will continue to do this until I'm not able. And I don't want what they want in this world, and there are at least 70 million of us in the United States who don't want it either. And I would imagine that if the low information voters that they have coerced into voting for Biden and following their socialist plan actually knew what the plan was, more than half of them probably wouldn't want it as well and would join if they knew the truth. I mean, look at the walkaway campaign. Look what it's done. Look how many people have come out of the Democratic plantation. How many people have come out of the brainwashing and have been red-pilled. And see, they play this woke game. Oh, I'm woke. Yeah. Woke means brainwashed. It really does. We have a society where you've got people on the conservative side who are not racist. We accept anybody. We love everybody. Everybody is a beautiful human soul who needs nothing more than education, caring, and to be taught morality and to be supported in their goals and ambitions. And these people have everybody thinking that they're victims and supporting people who do criminal activity because they are doing criminal activity. And they figure, oh, well, we'll get everybody to fight for these criminals who do horrible things, and we will let these people riot and be destructive, cause chaos and imbalance. Trump never caused any of this division. The mainstream media purposefully caused this division under the guidance of this socialist agenda, this extreme left-wing agenda and rhino Republican agenda that has been in the government for a very long time. And you go back to Snowden and his speeches about how the Patriot Act and so on, and the NSA has been collecting our data and information. They've been collecting our data and information as long as some of these voters who are out there have been alive, or even cognitive enough to understand what's going on in the world around them. Millennials since 2000 have been fed nothing but a life of computers in your palm of your hand that feeds you information nonstop that is put out there by people who are trying to brainwash you, who are trying to give you their agenda to live by. They want you to accept things that are never and never have been acceptable. They want you to be inclusive, quote unquote, by being exclusive, by shaming those who don't believe like you. That's not inclusiveness. That's elitism. And most of the people, if you'll notice, when you look at the maps of voting, most of the people that vote Democrat are in large cities. And the reason being is if you take a group of people, and this is an experiment that people have done in the past, and you can see it in high schools and so on too. If there is something that you want to get, to like spread, like a meme, basically, you spread the information by putting it out there and then shaming those who don't accept it. And if you have a close population, eventually